Good afternoon, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as well as my learned speakers here. Well, the topic that we're going to explore this afternoon indeed will keep everyone awake, as you know, we are going to talk about a very interesting area that all of us will have in one way or another be facing. That is the problems confronting us, confronting our businesses, confronting our community, our country, as well as the region. So because we are, living in an era that there are, multitude challenges and problems, so we need to have good set of entrepreneurs who can demonstrate their entrepreneurship, that overcome those problems and turn that into opportunities. We also need to have very good set of people who venture into social enterprises, such that put the social costs in front of making profit. And the third part is actually, again, intertwined, that all of us need to actually practice what is called sustainable development. But all these big topics today, we're going to dissect that into something that we could all relate to. Now, personally, just a quick introduction. I have been digital or tech or telecom entrepreneurs for the last 30 years. And in the last 5 years, I have then kind of taken a backseat, then begin to venture more into the policy making, into investment, angel investment particularly. So because of that, from the tech and entrepreneurial background, then I begin to see how policies of the country and the region could actually have such a profound impact. And my newer ventures include the EV cars, that is very so-called green in nature. And also, one of the latest ventures is into reforestation. So with that, I'm so excited to be able to learn from these very distinguished panelists that we have today. Then, we're going to have that kind of a short introduction by each and every one of the speakers. But I'm not going to kind of introduce their background one by one, as we want to save some time. And also, you will be able to read their very long profile because they are very rich in their experience in our booklet, right? Because if I read through their profiles, it's going to take up all the 75 minutes I have. Coming physically, we have 7 of us, and then one that is actually Adrian Gunadi, join us from Indonesia online, right? While the rest are here. So to kickstart the session, we are going to dwell on this first question, which is actually an introduction of the respective speakers, but then focusing on what we are doing in solving a particular problem of our interest. All right, so that will be the angle of our introduction. And I'm going to invite from my far left, Mr. Hun Kong Tan. Tan is a co-founder and the CEO of Innovation Lab Company Limited, InnoLab Asia of Vietnam. Tan, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope that our session will wake you up a bit. So, thank you for having me. My name is Hun Kong Thang. So, I always believe that the one major drive of one economy or region is in education, in young generation, innovation, and collaboration, or we can call it partnership. And if we look at the ASEAN here, we have more than $3 trillion market size, and the population around 680 million people. And if we know how to leverage our cultural heritage and historical values, I think we can perform much more than what we are achieving now. let me elaborate a bit what I'm trying to do, why I wearing many hats to support what I believe. So we do corporate innovation. So to the corporate, we come to them, we advise them about the corporate innovation strategy and capacity to help them to roll with the SME and the startup. Let's say for some of the big corporations, they can face some of the challenging for years, but if they can combine with the technological startup, that kind of problem can be solved for months. And we try to partner with the governmental agency to bring the foreign startup to Vietnam to expand their business. Why I did it? Because I want to bring more value-added product or service to the Vietnamese customer, at the same time to the local partner that I have it. And the third one, I also the advisor and the mentor for the startup and SME to help them to scale up their business, and as well as I help them to apply with the sustainable strategy plan. And last but not least, I also do with the For Impact organization. We provide scholarship, short course training, and mentorship to the young talent in Vietnam. Now, the young talent community that we are building until now about 15,000 young leaders. And we bring them from Vietnam to Thailand and Singapore for training. So one of our students actually the Cambodian. And this is what we are believe that if we do it well with collaboration, and if we know how to bring the big guy like from the big corporate with the monitor from the government, we can do a much better job. So this is what I'm trying to do in my field. Thank you.
Wow. That's great. Thanks for your introduction. That you are doing so much in the promotion of the education to help the startups and to help corporate solve problems with the technology. All right, I'm going to kind of take this route of clockwise and come back to Professor Dato Sri Dr. Mike Chin, who is Mike Chan. That's right. You are awake and I'm half awake. Thank you. Who is a co-owner and founder of European Wellness Biomedical Group, Germany. Okay, please welcome Professor Dato Sri Dr. Mike Chan.
Hi, everyone. I am 62, moving into a field of looking much younger every year. My job is to make everyone much fitter, sharper, and healthier, and that is my job. I will take away some of the years. My hair is still real. So one of my life ambition is to heal, to turn hope into reality. So we have been treating a lot of untreatable diseases all along, kidney, end-stage kidney on dialysis to turn them into stage 2 and 3. This is quite impossible in the medical world, but if you Google the internet, you probably will see some good news. I have won more than 30 international awards, including numerous innovation and innovative awards in Switzerland, Germany, UK, and many parts of the world. I am an author of 38 medical textbooks and wrote the first medical textbook for doctors in USA in 2006 on stem cells. I'm also the first writer on stem cells from animals. So that means to say, I would treat the dogs, the cats, the horses, or the hogs. And I sincerely think there's a lot of things we can bring, because having been educated in Germany and Switzerland and trained by the Soviets and Americans, exposure for the last 3 over decades, COVID locked me down very much for the last 3 years in Malaysia. So I was back into Malaysia to go on a big scale, and I come to realize there's so much thing we have to do as Asian. Okay, Asians are spending a lot of money on healthcare abroad. They go out of the country, they go for abroad and thinking that abroad will be the best healthcare. I come to realize there's a lot of things we can bring all the German, the Swiss, or the Americans, or UK technology right back into our own country. And being a manufacturer of biopharmaceutical products in Germany, I sincerely think we can bring it down, cut down the cost, do the manufacturing down back into Cambodia and any other Asian countries, and sell the drugs at a much lower price. Because at the end of the day, health cost is a big issue here. It's a big issue, and we are going to cut the cost of drugs as much as possible and reduce the dependency of drugs. Because at the end of the day, all the hypertensive drugs or the kidney drugs, or diabetic drugs is going to destroy your kidney. All drugs will have a toll on your kidney. Bear that in mind. So the best thing is do not rely so much on the drugs. Again, the government is spending a lot of money on millions on all these drugs. If we can help the government not to go on dialysis into the last stage and treat the kidney patient at the earliest stage, a lot of things could be cut off here. So my first love is education. I train more than 80,000 doctors across the world. I'm involved in medical conferences, 30 to 50 a year, all over the world, and being sitting on the board of most of the top anti-aging bodies of the world, including Americans or the Europeans or the Japanese. I sincerely think there's a lot we can educate. Now, not just educate the physician here. We also have to educate the people around us, the consumers, to be more on a due diligence to check on and not just by hearsay. Everything must be proven by publications, and for that, you must do some duty to rely and not by just mere words. You can't go with snake oil man selling supplements and say it works for everything. There's nothing that works for everything. A for A, a B for B, a C for C, and never an A for everything. So I sincerely think it's high time we had to bring the technology here. And what makes me special in a way is that I am probably the first guy in Asia to be invited and paid by the Kuwaiti king to be in WHO to talk about stem cells. And I'm also the first guy to sign the first SME representing Switzerland with the Chinese government on SME, on healthcare. And I sincerely think there's a lot I have to contribute back as an ASEAN boy, born in Malaysia as a kampong boy, a village boy. And I think it's high time to contribute to that. So I hope I can do more here. And I sincerely think I can do more for Cambodia too, since they also start healthcare in different parts of the world of the other ASEAN countries. Thank you very much.
That's great, Professor Dato Sri Dr. Mike Chan. So you bring hope to reduce healthcare, and you want people to be educated and to do DoD so that they can reduce the cost of healthcare. There are some specific techniques and all this that you are happy to share with. We look forward to that, right? Next, I'd like to welcome our Mr. Albert Oung, who is the founder and president of World Green Organization and the chairman of Hong Kong-Myanmar Chamber of Commerce. Please.
Thank you, Wei. I'm a Myanmar-born boy. Okay, so actually, again, I'm also belong to the ASEAN family. I have been involved in green business for over 40 years. So I'm also the a guy where I met multiple setbacks and so much problem that I have encountered. But that makes me one of the guys who knows a little bit more about green, which I hope to share with you all. Allow me to just define a new meaning about green before I go forward. Green nowadays is more than environmental friendly. It is about moral and ethical things that we have to follow by doing good things and kindness. So this is more than environmental friendly, but this is the basis of of my principles of going green. Recently, in fact, last year, I proposed the Asia-Pacific Green Deal, which about policy framework of going a green transformation from each and every country, because you can see there are a European Green Deal or a North American New Green Deal, which are different from the Asia-Pacific Green Deal. And I was so happy that our Cambodia Prime Minister has supported the ASEAN Green Deal, which makes a very much different of what we are doing around the world, because all Asian people have their own traditional values, okay? And this is what we embrace about life, respect, you know, and this is the foundation of what we are moving forward. So with the new meaning behind green, we are hoping to go a green transformational journey. But we knew that a lot of people are still using the old mindset to meet the challenge of the new world order. Okay, so in order to do that, what we are trying to do is to see what we can educate the mass population as a whole, as multiple stakeholders can also learn, including the government, the business community, and the civic community as a whole. So what we are trying to do is to also moving from just talking about problems, which is on issues, but without talking about results or action-orientated activities. So that's why we are coming up with, I'm coming up, and also our task force, because I'm also the chairman of the UN-ASEC Green Economic Task Force, and we are coming up with a solution based on another green paper on green economic zone, where we would like to showcase and also showing people the kind of quantum leapfrogging solution that we can bring in. Because nowadays we don't have time to waste, because the climate change is here, the pandemic issues are here, the health issue. I mean, there are so many problems nowadays that we have to resolve. So what are we, how and what are we going to do about that? So we are coming up with multiple solutions, but totally integrated solution in a holistic approach. So these are the things that we hope to bring forth, the experience. And this is what we hope that this kind of impactful and meaningful solution can mean something to a lot of people, that they can participate easily, and also to make sustainable programs on their own. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Albert Oung. Yeah. Next, to hear about your involvement on solving some of the problems that you have identified, I'd like to invite Mr. Gan Yong Yuenyong, right? Who is the Executive Director of Siam Intelligence Unit, Thailand. Mr. Gan, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dato, and thank you very much to inviting me to the forum. I would like to talk about my latest experience in joining the Quantum Hackathon project, because I myself is a researcher on the think tank. So my work is about to produce the policy paper for for the private sector or even for the public sector. The importance of technology is inevitable right now for the moment, and the most three important technologies that we need to focus is about quantum technology, AI, and then blockchain, for short QAB. This is not my own idea. It's about Professor Yuenyong Chang. He used to give the lecture to Google Talk, so you can search from the internet and for the YouTube to listen to his lecture. So I think a lot of panelists just talk about AI and blockchain already, but I would like to focus quantum that not many people just talk about nowadays. The problem of quantum technology is that it's kind of like counterintuitive. I mean, it's not in our conform to our daily life understanding. For example, there is one concept that very important in quantum mechanics, which is called the duality of particle and wave. It means that every particle can act as a wave in the same time, but once we make the observation on it, it will collapse from wave to particle. For example, it will behave like particle, which is, I mean, this is not like a interaction between particle and particle, or energy and energy, sort of. I mean, it's harder and different than that. Difficult to understand, but it's reality. It's the reality just make it happen. We need to use it to exploit that really. That's the only thing we know. The use case of quantum technology is that you can use it on the optimizability or optimization. This is very normal in social science problem, like in COVID scenario, we face the health security and also economic problem. How we can strike the balance between the two constraints. So this is the problem of optimizability, for example. And then another use case is about the cryptography. So you know that if quantum technology can be useful, like in next 10 years or maybe shorter than that, the existing cryptography technology can be broken by the quantum technology. So now we need to think about the post-quantum cryptography. And then the last one is about the modeling. For example, if you want to study about the drugs or in pharmaceutical industry, you need, if you have quantum advantage, you can produce more efficient drugs and more costly drugs than in the past. So this is the hope. This is the use case of the quantum technology. But the point is that we still lack of the talent or human resource. We need to think about the talent pool on that case as well. Okay, I will stop this for a while, and then I will make the summary on the next last session. Okay.
Thank you, Gan. You are, jumping straight into how to use quantum computing to actually achieve breakthrough in, let's say, new drugs discovery and all this. Certainly very exciting, and it's going to take a lot longer, and we're going to leave it to the second round. All right. Thank you. And next, we're going to invite Mr. Q Jia Yao, who is also a lawyer, and I will also introduce him as a co-chair of Malaysia CSO-SDG Alliance, resource person to the All-Party Parliamentary Group Malaysia on Sustainable Development Goals. So with that, may I invite Mr. Q, please.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much to KSI for the opportunity to participate at this excellent forum. Now, allow me to start with the problem statement, and then I'll go backwards to talk about why the organizations that Mr. Moderator has introduced, APPGM-SDG and the Malaysian CSO-SDG Alliance, exist. Now, you can get an inkling that these are complicated organizations just because their abbreviations require abbreviations on their own. But what the problem that we are trying to solve is this. How do we localize the sustainable development goals from the national level down to the local level, right? So for those of us who've been working on sustainability, the frustrating challenge is to move the conversation of sustainable development from the regional, from the UN level, the regional level, and the national level, down to the local level. That's where the rubber hits the road. Now, and this is where an innovation has come about in Malaysia, right? And that's the formation 3 years ago of this parliamentary platform that has gotten this name. It is an unforgiving name, but please be patient. The All-Party Parliamentary Group Malaysia on the Sustainable Development Goals. So it's APPGM-SDG. So all-party denoting that it is bipartisan. So it is at a parliamentary level platform with members of parliament from across the political divide coming together on the SDGs. So that parliamentary platform came about towards the end of 2019 under the auspices of the Speaker of the Parliament. So we have a separation of powers. We have the executive government, the executive, we have the Parliament, and we have the judiciary. So this comes under the Parliament. That gave it some added resilience in the changes of government. It remained to operate although the funding comes from the Ministry of Finance. And what it does is this platform allows members of parliament who wish to localize SDGs in their local constituencies to participate on this platform. So we started with 10 members of parliament. Now in the third year, we have 56 members of parliament with a diverse range. So they are from the Islamic party, they're from the former government, they're in the current government, the various MPs. And they come together under the APPGM-SDG banner, where they are supported by a secretariat, which is, and now I'm going to introduce the second organization, which is called the Malaysian Civil Society Organization on Sustainable Development Goals Alliance. It's Malaysian CSO-SDG Alliance. And this is the secretariat, this forms the secretariat of the aforesaid APPGM-SDG. The alliance itself is a network of more than 70 civil society organizations. And these are organizations such as WWF Malaysia, the Malaysian Bar, from which I participate as a volunteer, other human rights groups like Pro-Harm, Women's Aid Organization, Child Rights, Sexual Harassment, Foreign Labor Rights. You get the picture. So there are civil society organizations from across the spectrum of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. I realize I have 20 seconds or 30 seconds left. And so, backed by this secretariat, the members of parliament are able to then convene groups of experts down at their constituency level to look at what the SDG problems are and work on solutions. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Q. Looks like this bell is really working. And you know, you are giving us a lot of inspiration. How to bring SDG to the ground level. How to actually actualize that, which is actually a big task, but made very simple. We will hear more about that in a short while. Next, I would like to move on to Dr. Trinurini-Adhi.
Yes.
Right. Who is the chairperson of the ASEAN Solidarity Economic Council and the board member of the Bina Swadaya Foundation in Indonesia. As I read, that is the oldest social enterprise in Indonesia. We'd like to hear your wisdom, Dr. Ari.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eric. I come from Indonesia. So the Bina Swadaya Foundations, or translated as a self-reliance foundations, is the oldest social enterprise or NGO in Indonesia, 50 years old, with the missions of eradicating poverty and inequality, particularly for the vulnerable groups, through the entrepreneurships. So to bring more sharing in this forum, I would like to focus on the experience of the agriculture in the broad sense. So this year, we have already assisted more than 5,000 community groups related to the agriculture, as well building the community on skill, as well improving their knowledge of more than 4,000 beneficiaries, as well as bridging a lot of informal sectors to the market. According to our self-assessment, we have contributed to the 9 of the 17 goals of the sustainable development through the entrepreneurship running by the Bina Swadaya. What the make unique as well, beside the social purposes, we are running the organizations with the 5 principles of social solidarity economy. So might be for you, this is the new term with the social solidarity economy, or in short is SE, but it's actually, if you know the 3 bottom line from the social enterprise, the SSE will add with another 2 values, but this is important. The first is the edifying ethical, because we are doing business, we need an ethic. And the second is democratic and participatory decision-making or governance. We, the Bina Swadaya, believe by using this principle, the SSE principle, we can accelerate the achievement of SDGs, as Q has said. So therefore, the Bina Swadaya aligned with the many organizations in ASEAN as well. In one hub of the SSE network, we call it ASEC, ASEAN Solidarity Economy Council, where I'm chairing as well in that organization. So with this organization, we are doing advocacy and many other else. So what I, as you know, that in ASEAN, we found a lot actually that the social enterprises or SSE enterprises with the policy framework as well. The Thailand has already the Social Enterprise Act, the Malaysia has the blueprint on 2022, and the Philippines and Indonesia are in the process to developing the national social enterprises. The problem that we are facing is that we, the social enterprise, mostly find the insufficient regulations and policy in the government, so that hinder us, the social enterprises, to establish, to operating, and to advance our businesses. Yeah, and beside of this, the measures that assume that only the public and private sector are the viable model of entrepreneurships hinder as well the promotion of the social enterprise. So that means the difference according the private, the social enterprise or private sector with the SSE enterprises, uniquely is in the ownerships. The SSE enterprise more basis on the community-owned enterprises. So I stop my speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Eri. We are very interested to hear more about the SSE enterprises in the second round as well, right? Yeah, and we're going to switch to online, where we have this Mr. Adrian Gunadi, who I believe is already with us online, right? Zaim, just to kind of make sure, right? Adrian is the co-founder and CEO of Investri Indonesia, very illustrious career in the financial services and fintech. And we'd like to hear the introduction of Adrian, please.
It's on.
Oh, it is offline now. No worries. We shall move on to, okay, Mr. Also the new acquaintance of YPO, Mr. Sok Piset of the Cambodia. He is the CEO and co-founder of G Gear Group Company Limited, and also a member of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council Cambodia. Piset, please.
Thank you, Mr. White. So before I start, I just want to check how many of you is the first time to Cambodia? First time to Cambodia. Okay. So yeah. So I think you might know some history of Cambodia. I might give some ground of the time of the lifespan of Cambodia. Maybe I count from 70s. So from the turbulence of Cambodia, from the civil war in 70, 80 is a peace negotiation. 90 still the peace maintaining and move to the peace and stability until today. So this morning, I believe my Prime Minister have been stressed very clearly that we want to have peace in ASEAN. So this is what we want. So looking back to our senior generation that have been highlighted because they get used many times in the war. So from my generation can consider as a second generation after war. So Cambodian is a growing state from the 20s. So since from the 1998, after we have a full peace among the country. So what we can do, since the economic integration and everything, so we try to move ourselves to be internationalized. So we as a second generation, I'm very proud that we have been built a lot of ecosystem in the past 10 years. So the past 10 years, we have built the Young Entrepreneur Association of Cambodia. We have built a Cambodian Investor Club, which is the only community fund management company that support the entrepreneur ecosystem in Cambodia. I'm also proud to, as one of the co-founders of the ASEAN Young Entrepreneur Association. So here, I believe they have some of my senior member of ASEAN Business Advisory Council in the last 7 years. We have come up with the idea to bring the new generation of the ASEAN to be together. I think this is the only time that we have been bring Cambodian young entrepreneur to be linked up with other ASEAN countries. So this year is the 7th year that we will host the ASEAN Carnival on the 12th of November. We will launch the business connect that link the ASEAN young entrepreneur together. So this platform is one of the ecosystem that I can say that to bring Cambodian internationalize. So from the government point of Cambodia, I still remember when the first job I get is to write the email. You have wait a little bit because at that time we use the ADSL in order to connect, and then the email tick tock until the email sent. Not like nowadays. Now you can see the internet broadband. We can see the under table connectivities as a optic in order to infrastructure of the young entrepreneur and the business. And we also have the fund management license have been given. So this is also one of the gateways that allow young entrepreneur can access to funding in here. So I just want to recap what we have been done is from the turbulence of the war to the peace to the connectivity from Cambodian to the international stage. And I believe this is also the gateway that allows all of you to see Cambodian as a blue market that you can invest, that you can connect. I believe from now on, because we already built in the past 20, 30 years, it's an ecosystem. Now you can really connect and really talk the same language that you really talk with other countries, with the new generation of Cambodian. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Pisset. You know, you have given us the background of the country moving from the civil war to the peacetime, and also in your own experience, you have seen the development of the ecosystem, of the young entrepreneurs, of the investors, and extending out to ASEAN. So indeed, it's very encouraging. And with that, it takes us to the second round, which is very much starting from ASEAN that you mentioned, Pisset. Since we are in this ASEAN Leadership and Partnership Forum and talking about partnerships for a cohesive and responsive ASEAN. So in the second round, I would like each of the speakers to talk about where do you see to be one area of opportunity that you could bring it to ASEAN from where you are or your industry, all right? So with that, we're going to continue on with Tang over there.
Okay, thank you, sir. I really agree with Mr. Sok about the young generation, and I believe that the opportunity for ASEAN is just much more if we invest in the young generation. If we know how to prepare them with the right mindset and nurture them with the equipment, and those who build the foundation for ASEAN already should narrow the knowledge gap between their current generation to the next one. And that's gonna be the opportunity that the ASEAN can take advantage of. Because when you worry about the AI, the new technology that happen, so what makes us strong? During COVID, is it the someone from other country that can help you? No, it's your family member that help you, that your family member that have your back so you can be stronger when you have the disease. So as the one that got COVID during COVID, and my home family member got the same. And I saw very clearly how my father take care of the whole family. And that is our culture. And that's make ASEAN much stronger. And that's make us overcome with the technology. Because for years, we don't have the same language when we talk to each other. Now with the technology, we can connect easily. And with the next generation who study abroad and who can work with each other, like we give scholarship to those who can study in Cambodia, Thai, and Singapore, and we can talk the language and we know the difference and respect that. And for sure, that is our opportunity. And thanks to the COVID, that we know that this is the foundation because we have to restart again. And that is for the whole world. And this is what we start from. This is our advantage and opportunity. That's it.
Fantastic. Can you talk about, the real opportunity for ASEAN and the whole world is about focusing on the young generation, deploying technology, using connectivity, right? Thank you. Well, we're going to continue with the other speakers here. And I just learned that Adrian has just come online. So Adrian, could you give us 4 minutes of your introduction with regard to one area that you're working on and what problems are you solving with that unique capability of yours? Adrian, please.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Moderator, distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. So allow me to introduce myself. My name is Adrian Gunadi. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Investry. We are Southeast Asia's leading fintech SME marketplace lending platform. I am also chairman of the Indonesian Fintech Lending Association, and I am also a member of Indonesia's Asian Business Advisory Council. So it is obviously an honor for me to be able to be attending virtually in this access to finance to the small, medium enterprises. Access to finance remains a problem.
Adrian, just now we lost you for 5 seconds because of the network interruption. Could you replay 5 seconds earlier or 10 seconds?
Sorry about that. Hopefully to working capital specifically for small, medium enterprises remains a problem. Investry started about 6 years ago. After almost 20 years in banking, I left banking to start my own fintech startup with a focus on using technology, using data to provide an alternative access for SMEs for working capital solutions. And this is what Investry has done, how we facilitate between the SME borrowers who are looking for a short-term working capital solution. We use a AI-based alternative credit scoring to assess the creditworthiness of the borrowers, and then offer this offering to the lenders, whether they are institutional, whether they are retail, and so providing a short-term working capital solution to these SMEs, particularly who have invoices, who have contracts with a clear source of repayment. So what we have done is digitizing this SME lending, number one, digitizing the supply chain financing, which is interlinked between small, medium businesses, private companies, multinationals, and even the government sector, but also creating a collaborative ecosystem, which I think is key for financial technology, which is key for any innovation, is this collaborative spirit between the fintech players, between the banks, between other digital players, whether they are in the e-commerce space, whether they are in the e-logistics space, or also in the agri-tech space. And so we provide an embedded finance solution onto multiple digital ecosystem. And that has enabled us to provide more access to SMEs through this dynamic integration with different digital ecosystems. And to date, we have facilitated over $1 billion to over, I would say, 40,000 MSMEs in Indonesia. Apart from that, we also have presence in the Philippines as well as Thailand. So really leveraging our learnings in Indonesia, replicating into other markets, how we can use technology, how we can use data to provide better access for MSME in terms of financial access. And in the end, creating more impact to the MSMEs. So not only providing a solution, but also creating impact for these MSMEs. Thank you.
That's great, Adrian. Thank you for sharing with us how you actually venture into solving the MSME funding problems and supply chain funding problems with your AI-based solution to provide the lending. All right. Okay. Now we will continue on with the second rounds of the questions, which is about partnerships for responsive and cohesive ASEAN. So what is the one opportunity that you could identify that you could actually bring to ASEAN? And we're going to continue on with Professor Dato Sri Dr. Mike Chan.
I sincerely think that ASEAN's countries, they are having nationals which are more hardworking than most part of the world. We have longer working hours. The culture of Asians has been that they work longer hours than many compared to the Western counterpart. And for that, you're already having a lot of gains because you have extra productive value in terms of money. Now, apart from that, ASEAN's, the money is in Asia and ASEAN's today. I sincerely think that way. My experience of building value in Europe and been there for 30 years, all we have to do is bring the technology in Europe and bring it back down to Asians, and the cost will be cut totally. Bring all the best in biotechnologies, in medicals, on my side, and educations. Since education is acquired, it's high time to share it among we ASEANs. I look at it that way. I sincerely think there's a lot of way to add value. Now, value in the terms of cutting the cost at the same time to add quality life to longevity and not just years to our life, which I think is very important. Thank you.
Great. Yeah. Let's continue on with Albert. Opportunity in ASEAN.
Okay, thank you. I think what we need, as I just shared earlier, is a kind of a mindset change. But there are a lot of opportunities around, especially in ASEAN, because the future development will be lying in the Asia-Pacific region, where ASEAN is the core region. I hope to bring in the new business model, where I usually use the word green, a green business model where it will be meaningful for people when they do their business. Actually, I hope that there will be multiple objectives or multiple tasks that they can, or purposes that they can achieve. They can earn happy money by earning, by doing a lot of meaningful things, or even charity works or environmental friendly projects. But at the same time, they are helping a lot of people in different communities, but also creating, as what Mike has said, the kind of value-added things that can be created through our works. And this can be achievable very easily. What I would like to say is, if any people wants to do all these things, they can do it by themselves. You don't have to ask for permission from others. But this is the kind of business model that we can be promoting among ASEAN, because this is also the Asia traditional values that we protect people, we respect livelihood, and this is the way how we can move forward. Thank you.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. Albert, you talk about the business model, green business model, also bring happiness to yourself and others, right? Okay, Gan, please continue.
Yes, thank you, Dato. I would like to point out the very important characteristic of ASEAN, which is about the ASEAN centrality. This is the most important unique character of ASEAN, that we can use this platform to work with other great powers in the world without any problem. I mean, everyone just treat ASEAN as a friend, so nobody just think that we will treat, you know, like being the threat to their security or whatever. And back to my journey on the quantum computing, that I found that the most important talent pool is in India. So they have very vast resource of talent pool. Technically, we can use online approach to bring them to work with ASEAN in almost every difficulties. So this is the very most important opportunity that ASEAN may help to. But the problem still that we need to go down to the ground. That, you know, online working may be pose the luxurious thing to us, but the problem is that how come that the people will trust us for the leadership? At the end of the day, you need to show them that how we can help them to resolve the problem, how you can get enduring or get through the difficulty that you face during your project. So the conceptualize is very nice, but the problem is the practicing. That's my point. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you, Gan. So you seem to point out that, you know, in some of the cutting edge technology development, leverage of the talent pool from the India, even though, you know, we talk about ASEAN centrality. All right. That's great. Yeah. Let's move on to Mr. Q. Right. What is the opportunity that you'd like to talk to us?
Opportunity for cohesive ASEAN, I would say. Let's talk about using the framework of the Sustainable Development Goals as a common framework for change agents, whether you are a change agent in the government sector, a change agent in the private sector, and of course a change agent in the voluntary or the civil society sector. Because the time is ripe, because governments have committed to the SDGs, and not just national governments, but down to your local municipalities. They are familiar generally, of course, this is usually uneven, but generally with LA21, with various programs. So governments have already bought in to SDG, at least on a conceptual level. That is a policy hook. Within the private sector, they have also, a lot of the leading businesses, the MNCs, have already committed openly to subscribe to SDGs and to honor and to contribute towards achieving them. And in the civil society, obviously, they are already there. So this is a common language. And if change agents in ASEAN use this framework, but you continue to do your own programs at your local contextual level, because SDG, this is a misconception. We think that as people who don't practice it will think that SDGs come from foreign, from the white people, but actually any practice of the SDGs will be contextual and it will be local. And when you do that, it's your own, and you unlock possibilities with fellow change agents, and that opens up possibilities across the region. I'll stop here. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thank you, Q, for sharing with us, you know, being the change agent, you know, to bring it in the level, to the level that's contextual and also local. There's opportunity for us all.
Yes, this is the real entrepreneurial rhythm, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Let's move on to Dr. Ari, please.
Yeah, thank you. I think this morning we have a speech from the speech that ASEAN doesn't only want to have a growth, but as well inequality. So I mean that the social solidarity economy try to ensure that the economic both we can go growth, but as well in the same time bring the equality. So we know that there is two types of capital, financial capital and and social capital. And the solidarity economy mostly working in the area of social capital. As I told you that the solidarity as a value actually originate in the Southeast Asian country. We can see during the pandemic that the people help each other, the initiative of the community to training the neighbor on how to washing hand properly, bringing food to the infected one. This is one of the example of the solidarity economy in our country, in ASEAN. So we have to bring this solidarity as a capital. So therefore, promoting the SSE, we try to bring this collective ownership become the entrepreneurship. So that not only providing the prosperity, but as well ensuring the inequality. So I think that we have the good opportunity in ASEAN to implementing the entrepreneurship which based on the social capital by honoring collectively. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Ari. Entrepreneurship with about the opportunity that you could actually bring to ASEAN.
Yes, I think clearly you see digital adoption as one opportunity that we believe in the ASEAN region has grown significantly. I think this is also due to the fact that the demographics, there's young entrepreneurs, young millennials growing throughout ASEAN. So we believe that becomes a clear potential for the next digital wave, the digital transformation. We clearly see how COVID has impacted the way we transact, the way SMEs manage their business. So I believe this is a strong potential that ASEAN has. And we see that further collaboration amongst ASEAN nations will truly enable this digitization for MSMEs, this digitization for innovative financial solution, the key or important milestone for ASEAN in the years to come.
Yeah, thank you, Adrian. So, digital adoption will facilitate the transformation for across ASEAN. And I think the last speaker, not least, for this second topic about opportunity is Mr. Sok Pisset.
I think this question reminds me 7 years ago when I led the brainstorming with the consultant on the strategic plan of the Asian Young Entrepreneur Association, what you want and what to go. So for me, you see ASEAN in two regions, is ASEAN 6 and ASEAN 4. So the ASEAN have a different talent and geographic location. But what the good point of ASEAN is the P region that is the opportunities. So there is one tagline in ASEAN that we can see is we go slow, but we go together. So at the time, it's very tough. We have seen and debate a lot, but finally we come with the consensus that we have to be stronger together. We need to harmonize. We have to collaboration. Strong in ASEAN and go global. So this is the only thing that we can see, because you can see now, I don't say any country, but some country beside ASEAN already become a museum. It's not where you can make a business for profit, but it's somewhere that you can see it with a beautiful view. But it is our opportunity as a piece, as a growing, as emerging market, and we, the one in the area that we work very hard, we never get, we always work on the ground, so we more strong, we more growing area as a young people dynamic. So I think the opportunity for us is to see global as our market trend and try to strengthen our relation, our collaboration among the ASEAN. Don't see ASEAN as a competitors. Thank you.
Well, that's very beautiful, Pisset. You talk about, we may go slow, but we go together. And then be strong in ASEAN, then we go global together. That's fantastic. We are really coming to the last part, of which I'd like everyone to take 1 minute to share with the audience here what is the key message that you'd like everyone to take home with. 1 minute. And with that, I'm going to start with Tang.
Well, I think if we're talking about sustainability and innovation, it should not be achieved just by one event. It's a story that we should keep practice and make it toward our goal. Our ASEAN motto is one ASEAN, one identity, and one community. And in order to do it, we should set the mindset ready for the current generation and the next generation. And I want to end with a quote from the guy that I quite admire. The illiterate of the 21st century is not the one that cannot read or write, but the one that cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So let's learn, unlearn, and relearn together. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Tan. I'm learning. Thank you. All right. Then we continue with Professor Dato Sri Dr. Mike Chan.
I totally agree. We must share and learn. We must be together as one, one for all and all for one. And nothing is impossible in our dictionary except the real impossible. So we must do everything with good integrity, believe in what we do, stay away from the red ocean, always go to the blue or even the green ocean. I always say that, always be unique and innovative. And we must lead. It's time for ASEAN to lead. We have all the resources in the world. We have most resources than many parts of the world. And we have all the talented people here who have acquired over the years. So it's high time to lead and not just to follow. We have to be dragon now, not even the tigers. It has to be dragons. Thank you.
All right. Dragon of ASEAN. Let's move on. Albert Oung, please.
Okay. I would say be a visionary leader. Do not panic when there are problems, because problems are always can treat it as a happy problems. You can overcome it, and when you see the history, when you look at the history, we have overcome so many tragic incidents, but we all overcame it. So what I would like to say is that there are always solutions to what we can do. And the positive directions are ahead of us. So as what all other speakers has shared, together we can stand as one. And I'm very confident that we can make it through. The future is ours, and we can make it as a different makers. Thank you.
Yes, we can make it through. We can make it green. All right. Yes. Khan.
Yeah, thank you, Dato. In the disruptive era, I think on one hand, we need to think about the new paradigm. Like I just expressed my experience about quantum, you need to think about the new counterintuitive thing. But on the other hand, you need to have a grit, G-R-I-T, grit. I mean, to stay still, to resolve the existing problem until it can be resolved. It seems a bit like contradictory. So these paradox, you need to get used to it. And the better you can demonstrate this new normal, the best quality of the leadership of the new era. Thank you very much.
Okay, so Khan, do you want us to remember about the contradiction about quantum computing? Stay with grit. G-R-I-T, by the way. All right. Okay, let's continue with Q.
Okay, I'll go a bit lofty then, since I'm
one message you want everyone to take home with, right? Yeah.
I say love, right? It's a people-centered ASEAN. As we strive for growth, economic growth, institutional progress, the underpinning is love, right? Love for one another, and that is the ultimate aim, and that's the intertwined humanity. That's what reflects the Sustainable Development Goals. So as we use our cleverness and our AI and our technology, the underpinning item is love. Thank you.
Very powerful. So that, you know, SDG is love. Right, I remember that. Thank you. Yes, Dr. Ari.
Okay, message for the audience. Let's give support to the SSE enterprise by collective ownerships businesses for more equality in ASEAN. And message for the KSI for the next forum. I hope that you can give award to the social enterprise or SSE enterprises in this favorable forum. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. So your message is that we must move forward with more recognition, awards
recognition.
to SSE
That means not only
organization.
company, but as well social enterprise should be rewarded.
That's great, yes. And I'd like to invite Adrian, who's on the line, to share with us your message for...
Yeah, I think I'll keep it short. Through innovation, we can create impact. And clearly, we see the potential of ASEAN to create more innovative solutions, more breakthroughs. We believe this is the dawn for ASEAN.
Innovation to break through for ASEAN, right? Thank you, Adrian. So we're going to move on to Sok Pisit.
So for me, we see the last 3 years, we have a lot of new experience in the turbulence and the difficulty among the Myanmar issue and COVID issue. So this year's theme of ASEAN is ASEAN Act, address the challenge together. For me, my last word is the unities. The unities.
Unity.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
So looks like I think we have learned a lot from this very erudite panelists on this topic of entrepreneurship, social enterprises, and the sustainable development. We have heard about how to reduce healthcare costs. We have heard about going green business model that bring happiness to us and others. We have heard about, you know, the unusual quantum computing that is actually coming to our life that will actually be deployed to solve a lot of problems, and we must use talent from outside ASEAN as well. And we have also heard about localizing SDG to the local context, to the context of our company and our respective community. And we have also learned about the SSE that is there, that measure is about equality, bringing everyone up together. And of course, online, we have learned about using innovative, this digital, what they call that, fintech method to solve the funding of the supply chain and also for the micro and small, medium-sized enterprises. We have certainly learned a lot about ASEAN being the opportunity for all of us. Go maybe slow, but go together, and from there be strong in ASEAN and go to the global market. And lastly, to have confidence that ASEAN, with our own identity, with our own marketplace, we can achieve greatness together. So with that, I'd like to invite everyone to join these panelists by giving a big hand. Thank you.